Hey, what up, guys? So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is James again for OJ Motion and Design. So, basically, I just want to look at how we can. I can't stress enough why you should use AOVs or multipass rendering in production. In professional production, especially because it saves you a lot of time. Instead of coming back and rendering again for 5 hours or even 2 days, you only deal with that part of the image that is giving you problems, whether it's overexposure, lighting, reflections, and there's things like motion blur and even depth of field. So today we want to look at how you can do compositing of depth of field in post, because it's a little bit different from how you do your other render passes. So you can do this inside Fusion, inside of DaVinci Resolve, or you can use the Fusion standalone. So for this tutorial, we're just going to use Fusion standalone. So if you look at our scene, we have a fairly simple scene here. So I have a train here and a footbridge like that goes across from one side to the other. I have a few trees here. Then I've added flowers here and in as well, from both the tree and the flower, from this plugin here called Forester. I like it a lot. It saves me a lot of time. So if you look at this out of the camera, it's just the footbridge. You have a rail line and the train itself and flowers around here. So that's pretty much what it is. And if you look at what you render, so rendering, the problem with the rendering things like depth of field and motion blur inside of your 3D program is the fact that you cannot manipulate them later on, and that creates a lot of problems. If you want to change anything, if you render this shot, for instance, for 5 hours, if it's an animation, then you have to do the 5 hours again. But what if you have these things in different passes where you can just control whatever you want? Overexposure, terrible motion blur probably. And also rendering this kind of elements inside of 3D takes a lot of your time for no reason. So let's just launch Fusion and see how we can do this. So here we are. So as usual, control space loader, and let me go get my file that I already rendered. Just named it local. And before we do anything, let's just arrange to grid so that I can have a scene that is so neat. So it's always an exercise, compositing these things, splitting them. But fortunately enough, I have a plugin. I can't remember the creator, but I'll find it and I'll put the link in the description. So just go to script, scroll over here to host _split exr _ultra. Click on it, and I don't want it to merge them. I just want it to split them. So run and close. And as you can see, my passes have been split for me. Easy peasy. Hot knife through butter. I love this. This guy saves us a lot of time. I'll put a link for this guy so you can donate. Buy them coffee if you want. Especially you guys know how difficult these things are to do. So this is our original file. But I'm not going to even use that. I can if I want to. There it is, looking dark and like this, and that should be similar to the beauty pass, because we use this to just figure out what is missing in our compositing. So usually I start with the passes that have anything to do with light. Okay, first of all, they look dark. The reason why is because the gamma is not displayed correctly. So my workaround is this. Just go here. Let's get something called gamut. Add it in. And Jesus, these things keep on shifting my nodes. I don't like that. Yeah. So add it in. So for the first on the gamut, don't do anything to the source space. But on the outer space on the other side, create a RGB. Now it's displaying correctly. And the same can be done to our node tree over here. Remember, these are different. This is so now bring in again our gamut and in, no change, output as RGB. As you can see, they are pretty much identical now. Yep, yeah, except they also look pretty ugly. The image is just sitting there. It's so flat, you know. So let's get something to take care of this. So how we do this is we bring this in this depth guy. Without selecting anything, get something called channel boolean. Sorry, channel boolean, not channel boolean 3D. Okay, it's channel boolean. Booleans, not boolean, sorry. So our guy goes in here and we get this other guy in here, and that looks weird, I know. Let's just retain this first of all. So let's just go here and let it stay at copy. Okay, and then here we're gonna ask it to do nothing. Do nothing still, even on the alpha. Do nothing. Then go to this next tab, and on the Z we enable extra channels, lightness, foreground. Okay, so now we're good to go. If you look at it here, you see not a thing. But if you look at Z, now you have this beautiful thing showing us how our depth looks like. So let's create some little bit of space here, and let's go get something called actually they're gonna be two, so I'm just gonna drag this over here. So let's get something called a change depth, this one over here. Add it, and on depth make it 32-bit float. Gonna do the same to this, then do 32-bit float. Gonna change this to color, drive it in here. We don't see nothing, and that's because we need to get something called let's get something called depth blur. Make sure it's this one, not depth blur panel. This is for panoramic, and this is for 360 if you're dealing with AR and VR stuff like that. So make sure it's depth blur. Okay, add that guy, let's put him over here and drag, and as soon as you drag that, you see we've added depth of field. So then you can increase this to increase the depth size, and then This thing is not working, I don't know why. If you sample here, anywhere you place the pointer to, that's where your point of focus should be. It's not happening here, but that's not a problem. Just this slider can do the same. You see it's moving through the image, and this, we're focusing on the foreground, and then it moves, you know, here exactly. So to see this better, let's just fade it onto the window, and you can see how it happens. It travels across. Okay, and you see that gives you, yeah, this here looks terrible. That's because we went beyond, you know. Also just use this thing sparingly. Just don't go overboard and, you know, making everything look crazy. So just choose something plausible, and then now you have your depth of field. And then it's kind of tight and sharp. That's what also causes this. So how you can deal with that, first of all, let's open it up. This opens it up, you see. So once you do that, now you can move the focal point front, you know, and back. And once you set it to a certain place, as you can see, you do realize that it's not gradually moving from sharp to blur, and that's where this Z-scale guy comes in. So look what happens when you expand this. Now it starts to look better. It's not that sharp image from, you know, it doesn't look like this because this is locked into this area, and as you can see, it's just a sharp thing moving from sharp and instantly into blur. So you use this to expand it. So right now we are focused around here, but I would like to see the headlamp. So just move your focal point to where you want it to be. So these things are also animatable, so you can keyframe them, and that will help you, you know, do things like rack focus. From here the train is coming from, and then it begins to, you know, come into focus, and you can see now the headlight. You're an artist, so go ahead and, you know, just figure out what you really think works for your scene. Your scenes are different, so can reduce blur size. I think it's too much, increase, you know, and yeah, I think this looks pretty good. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, bro. So on to 100 subscribers, please guys, hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell button so you don't miss out in any case I post anything that you might like. Until next time, ciao.